All right, guys, I'm Kevin Miller from Twigs and Branches. I'm here again to show you guys another style that you can make your own centerpiece at home using your own container or bowl like we're using here, and actually flowers from your yard. So I grabbed a bunch of really beautiful things today, and we're just gonna go through this together, and I'll show you how to do it. So I actually had this really pretty, it's like a plastic kind of resin bowl that we put like pine cones in, or anything of that sort down over, seasonal things and whatnot. So I just took some chicken wire and I actually like folded it in half and kind of wrapped it into a ball shape sort of and pushed it inside of here. I used our Oasis tape that you can get from a floral store, anything of that sort, and I just taped it off kind of in a little bit of a grid. If you don't have chicken wire, you can use just the tape, but the chicken wire really helps a lot of these bigger branches that we're gonna be using, like the magnolias, which are blooming right now, which is awesome. So those are just a couple things that we can use just to kind of hold everything together. So to get started, I'm going to start with these flowering branches that I found just outside our door. These are super pretty. These trees are just blooming like crazy. And I just cut a bunch down. I tried to keep the stems super long. I'm going to push some of these flowers back so that you guys can get a better idea of what we're doing here. So I just cut these pretty long. I'm gonna kind of do this like natural arrangement. I did grab a trash can to put it to the side here. That helps, or a box or something of that sort. That's usually what we're using in the floral shop, but obviously I'm here in my dining room. So I'm just gonna kind of weave that inside the cage here. And I kind of want these kind of flowing all over just to kind of start our shape, and then we'll fill in with the other flowers. So again, I'm gonna use all of these up first, and you don't have to use everything, but and I like some to be tucked low, so I'm gonna have this one low up front. And then I love taking these longer branches that will create like a really cool shape for us to go. And some of these, man, need new pruners, I guess. Have to get those when we can, to create the shape. So the longer the stems, probably the better, because then that way you can always cut it, which is always really nice. So we'll use a couple more of these. So these fill in really nice. Obviously you want to try and find a tree that's in bloom. That's what's going to be more full. You can always use the greenery, which I think is really pretty as well. If there's no flowers, ones that might have leaves on them already. And again, some of this stuff will shift, but as we put the stems in, that will help create the web that we're creating with the chicken wire here. And we'll go from there. So I'll hold that piece off to this side. And again, you're gonna tweak things a little bit. You kind of want to get creative and do it your own way. So like this one here, obviously I have a small bloom at the bottom, and then I have this nice long stem. I'm just going to cut it so I can use this long piece, hopefully get this one stabilized here. And then I'm going to use that other piece just to kind of fill in the center, because you still see a lot of the chicken wire, of course. And then, the couple other pieces you can use as well to kind of tuck that in there, to keep it up a little bit, just like that. So, and then I'm going to use all my other longer pieces here to kind of stabilize this. And I want kind of something shooting out, not technically in the middle, but like kind of off to the one side. It's going to kind of go out this way, up a little bit here, and then it's going to draw out that way. And that's what this one last stem is for here. And you can see those magnolia blooms peeking out over here on this side. We'll get started with those soon. They're so pretty, and they're literally blooming. It's so beautiful out today. Obviously we're still here in quarantine, so I'm just doing some fun stuff at home. So that's with the flowering tree as of right now. And then I'm gonna grab the magnolia and bring that a little bit closer to me here. So these came in kind of really big, beautiful blooms. Like, look how pretty this is. Obviously I just have this one here. So I'm just gonna keep that one pretty short and tuck it real deep in there. And then I have some of these other ones kind of shooting out a little bit. I just love how pretty they're opening, totally in season right now. And sometimes you're like, oh, I don't want to cut it because the tree is so beautiful, but obviously they bloom so many on the tree that even if you just cut a couple blooms, that way you're not cutting them all down. And obviously if you have a smaller tree, maybe just leave them and do something like this next year. So again, I'm kind of tucking some of them in, and then I'm having a couple of them come out. And I'll pull this out of the way so you can really see the shape that I'm doing. So again, I have a really nice fullness coming up. I kind of have it going out to the side and then a little bit draping down over here. And we're gonna kind of fill in with some other flowers that I have. I even love these. So this was just, I cut this whole stem, if you can see it. It still has the buds on it. I'm all about the way that nature grows. I love showing that off. So I'm actually gonna use those pieces to fill in here because I think it's just a really unique way to create some texture and a little bit of depth going on, and have a couple of those. So I try not to waste anything. So especially like doing weddings and whatnot, you want to use as much as you can. Of course, not just a dead stem, but like, you know, you definitely want to make sure that you're using as much of the stem as possible. So I had a wide bowl. So I'm gonna make sure I'm getting the back here, and I'll get some good pictures of this so you guys can all see later, and maybe a little video of the arrangement itself. So I am tucking some in the back here because you want to make sure you fill that in. And then obviously we can use this piece too. So I'm keeping most of the magnolia pretty close to the bowl itself. And then I'm gonna let the other flowers that I have that are longer and a little bit more skinnier, you know, kind of flow out that way. So, and I used drinking glasses. So if you don't have any vases, I have a handful here, but I needed quite a bit. So I just used some drinking glasses and obviously a little rocks glass here for my hosta leaves that we'll use later. But stuff like that works out perfect. So, all right, let's get this guy. All right, so then this was another one. It just kind of had this deep tone. It's just a bush that really actually was overgrown and I needed to trim it anyways. I don't know all the names of these and I probably should, but you know, I might try and see if I can look them out for you guys. But again, it's kind of fun. Just go out and grab things that are out in your yard and, you know, have a little bit of fun with it. So, so I'm gonna use all these. I'm trying to keep most of these long. You'll wanna pull off most of the leaves. And I'm kind of following my shape again. So I'm using the shape that I've created here and following it with my long pieces that I went out and grabbed. So, and I love this long one. Maybe we'll have it shoot up here a little bit because we're kind of following that whole shape that we have going on. And then I'm just gonna kind of go all the way around. Since these are a little bit smaller too, you can always cluster these. So you can put like two stems together. I still like to cut them separately. So then that way you're positioning them exactly where you want them to go. You know, make it look really pretty that way. So you probably can hear some machine outside because I have the windows open because it's so beautiful. But yeah, so just a handful left of these. I do have some tulips, some hosta. There's this weeping, really pretty pink tree. I'll show you that in a minute because it was so pretty. And again, I probably should know all these. That's probably bad of me, but some of this is stuff that we don't usually use in the event industry just because the length and time and everything. So, and our growers don't usually sell some of this stuff. So it's actually really fun to get creative with the things that you have in your own, you know, in your own backyard or surrounding you. So again, I'm just cutting those. I can cut some of them together to speed it up a little bit, and then you just pull the leaves off, you know, and kind of go from there. It's looking so pretty. All right, one more of this guy. And now you can see that the arrangement's getting really nice and full, which is awesome. So, you know, you definitely can see a little bit of how this looks all the way around. It's so freaking pretty. I love this. And you can see the other one that we did. It's, I actually started a YouTube channel, so this is kind of fun. And I think it's At Home Workshop Flowers. I'll put a link in the bio or something. But it's kind of cool. It was just some flowers that I found earlier, probably I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago that were just blooming at the time, which I think is kind of fun also. And then I did a full tutorial of how to do that one as well. So this is kind of similar. Obviously you're just gonna see different flowers, but maybe these same flowers are obviously blooming by you. This one had just buds on it, so you can see I loved how this looked. Again, kept the stems pretty long. And I'm not hacking any of these bushes or trees. These are like really long stems that may need to be trimmed anyway. So instead of throwing them away, you know, you can maybe compost some of this stuff. you can actually like take it inside and make something really pretty out of it. So I'm just shoving this in here, again, to kind of give it a little bit of depth and texture. And then I'm gonna add some over on this side just to fill in. And again, you can always like tweak this. So I mean, not every time I put something in its spot is exactly where it's supposed to be, but I try to follow like my lines. I try to give it like a natural flow as if it was naturally growing out in the wild. And that's what I think gets you that really beautiful look that, you know, people are trying to achieve when you're looking at other arrangements that floral designers are doing. So I found these beautiful tulips outside, and I'm gonna also pop those in. So these ones, I mean, come on, look how pretty this is. So beautiful. So I'm gonna keep most of these like shooting out. I just think because of the color is so pretty, you know, you definitely want, I mean, the magnolia really are showstoppers, but these tulips are just so pretty. So I'm definitely going to make sure that most of these are out. I did cut some that weren't even bloomed all the way, which I think is great because this will, you know, as the arrangement sits on your table or wherever you might put it, you know, they'll bloom open and it'll be really pretty and last a little bit longer, so that not all of them are perfectly bloomed. So you can enjoy it for a few days. So again, I'm following that shape. I probably will tuck a few of them a little bit deep, like this guy here, and I might just add right down in there, so that pops some color over there. And I'm also going to add some shooting out over this way. And I kind of like to cluster again as well. I think this is another way to achieve that kind of natural look. So I am gonna have a few of the stems going the same way as the other ones, and this kind of achieves that, you know, more natural look as far as that goes. So I might just have this one come out front there. Look how pretty this is coming on. And then I even had some shorter ones that I might just tuck also right up front here. Oops. There we go. And have that kind of hanging up this side, which is really pretty. So this is kind of how it's going. I'll kind of give you a little bit of a look as far as the way that it's going, but how pretty is this? So you can definitely tell that the magnolia are filling up a lot of space, and some of these other flowers are a little bit skinnier and smaller. You still see some open spaces here, and then obviously on my back's a little bit more open too, and that's actually what I grabbed the hosta leaves for that, you know, to kind of fill in, especially at the base. So before we go to that, I found these really pretty pink florals. So this was on, actually this one's a little bit bloomed a little bit more. These were just hanging from this weeping tree. It was so pretty. Again, should know the name of some of this, but these were outside. They were so pretty. So I'm actually going to tuck most of these in. This is going to be a little bit more of my filler to help kind of fill in the arrangement itself. So we'll throw a little bit there. Cool. And then these ones, this one came as like a whole, you know, kind of like a bunch branching off of it. I think I'm gonna leave it because I like the way that it looks. I'm just gonna nick the end of it again, because you always really do want to try and give this a fresh cut. And I'm just gonna kind of tuck it over here, and this will kind of really pull that pink color in on this side. And I am gonna lift up these magnolias so I can get the branch down in there, and then have this. So again, it gives like that really natural look. It's so pretty. You can do it at home yourself. And then again, I have a couple little guys. Like I said, I am just going to, so I'm gonna use those in the back here. And they're filling in perfect because these are nice and full. So you really do wanna look for your holes at this point, and you'll tuck it in here. And then again, another wild piece here that I'm gonna just leave as is because I like the way that it looks. I am gonna pull maybe this guy off and we'll reuse it somewhere else. Maybe just leave the rest, and I have a nice area right here that I can tuck it in. And then I'm actually gonna take that same little piece and fill in the hole here. So now you can see how pretty this looks with the pink florals in there. And then last but not least, I have the hostas. So these are, I mean, they're just popping up at this point. So I'm gonna kind of see if I can kind of, I don't wanna force them open, but I kind of wanna just see if I can undo them just a tad without wrecking them, just to give that really nice full look. I'm gonna very little nick this also because they're not very long. And I'm gonna use these more at the base. So this is right where I'm gonna try and make sure that we're covering all of that chicken wire and the tape, because you don't wanna see any of your mechanics, and then that way you can do that. And then look how pretty this one is. So it's nice and full. Give it a little nick. And maybe we can add that one. Right. And usually if you're looking over the top, you can kind of see where some of the holes are. That way you can pop these in, because these will, you know, because the leaves are so much wider, I have some areas back here that I can definitely just tuck a handful of these, and it automatically, like, quickly covers my chicken wire and the tape. So I'm gonna use these back here. And I'm gonna put this right on the dining room table, especially actually this one right here that you guys are seeing. And we're pretty neutral in our home, so anytime I bring fresh flowers, it always looks really nice, and you know, gives a little pop of color for us. So, all right, let's get that last one in there. Cool. All right, guys. So let me clear these glasses off, and then I'll give you a big old turnaround. I should have one of my turntables so you guys can see exactly what this looks like. Okay, so I used all flowers from outside, just in our surroundings, so you can look out in your yard. Love the magnolia in here. They look really, really beautiful. These flowering trees that I was able to get a bunch of really pretty branches from. I mean, all the way around. How pretty is this? And you can see where those hosta leaves really helped fill in the back. You can definitely see that there's more of a front, so of course I'm gonna have that facing this way because this is the rest of my house facing out that way, but this does give a really pretty all the way around look, which is really, really cool. So, how gorgeous. So, thanks for hanging out with me, and I will be doing more. I've also been doing some of the time-lapse videos so you guys can see this in kind of more of a quicker version. You know, if you already know some of the basics, you can just see how I put this together. But look forward to showing you more, and thanks for hanging out with me, and hope you guys enjoyed.